This video contains subject matter that may be offensive and disturbing to some people. If you are the type to require a warning throughout a video or show, let this message serve as your warning. This channel discusses the harsh reality of true crime. If this warning is not sufficient for you, consider a different genre and unsubscribe from my channel immediately. Hello. Yeah, my Blazers lost, but Steph Curry scored 62 points. That was crazy. Yeah, what's going on? Yep, got some more cases tonight. 1981. There's even more in 1981, but these are the ones that I'm doing. Or maybe I should probably clear out. Well, I'll just change everything when the month is over. For the totals there. Crazy times. Yeah, you just email me a case. I don't want 15 links and your idea of what happened in the case and your thoughts or anything like that. If you want me to look into a case, just send me a link, and that's how it works. Okay, I don't want any of your thoughts on the case. All right? And I know people go, God, that's so mean, Gray. Well, no, it's not really mean. It's just how I want to do it, because I don't want to have any ideas that were your ideas. What's not working? Are you guys not able to hear me? What's not working? What are you talking about? Yeah, I don't care if you have I don't want your facts either. I just want a link on the case, and whatever I find is what I find. That's it. Okay, I don't want any of your thoughts of any kind, even the facts. I just want, hey, Joe Smith out of Texas, 1982. Oh, that's not working. Here, let's try it again. Now, I'm not sure what you're talking about, Jennifer. You kind of just threw the show off. I don't know what you're saying. You mean the oh yeah, we had a troll on the video from yesterday. They started crying about how, during the show, after we've discussed a case, like people can't have an opinion, and that's when we talk about opinions, and it's not true. Okay, I just can weed out when there's an opinion that doesn't fit the facts that we just discussed. I can immediately go, no, that's not it. And it was funny because Stacy and some other people were over there. And then the person just left. Deleted their account, removed their comments, except the main comment. So if you go watch last night's video, you'll see a comment at the bottom. And then I think it was Sooner History was in there too. Yeah, well, I turned the bots on, so I don't know why they're not working. Yeah, I can't. I don't know how to explain it. They're on right now, so. Here, let me try something. Hold on a second. Yeah, I mean, if it doesn't work, it's just not working. I wonder if I need to... Yep. So, should be good. Here, what I'll do is I'll disconnect and connect them again and see what happens. Yeah, I mean, it even has the comments that you guys are making on this software. So it should have worked. Yeah. Crystal, idiots will be heard but not validated. I don't even remember making that one, but man, that's pretty good. I like that one. Yeah, I know. Thanks for helping. It just didn't make any sense because I did everything that I normally do. I didn't know it. You just type in the whole sentence. Gray, your bots aren't working. Not a comment and then down here, it's not working. Well, I don't know what you're referring to. Then I went and checked to see if my stream was going. Okay? Just think about me looking at it. Okay? I need to be able to, you know, and not following every single one of your comments. Okay? That's how you need to. If you're trying to get me to see something, type the full sentence in, and then I can read it. Because that, and then it'll be in context. If because a minute I went and checked to see if my stream was running. Checked over here. All right. Okay. Anyways, I'm gonna get started here. Sure why that went off. I've got this cool, I don't know if you guys have seen this, by the way. Look at this right here, this thing. See, that actually goes into one of your XLR jacks, and then it has a Bluetooth receiver. So if you have like a phone that plays music, you can send it to that the receiver. I'm trying to get it where it could do phone calls. I mean, how cool would that be? Where you could literally pipe a phone call into that thing. But I'm not sure if you can... I know it can do Bluetooth out to speakers. So I'm trying to figure out why that can't be considered a speaker. I don't know. Just kind of coming up with some other inputs over here. There you go. That's another one of my quotes. Did you have that one stored, or you just memorized it verbatim? I can't remember who that guy was. Remember that guy that used to come watch my channel all the time, and he'd write down all the quotes? And I think he just sort of disappeared one day. Oh, it was on it? Oh, okay. That's pretty fun. I forgot that I actually put that on a shirt. Nobody in the world would get what that meant, except for freaks.
I guess if you find if you're driving around and you see a pencil in your lap, you might want to check your trunk for a dead librarian.
Yep. It actually makes sense. Because a guy said he saw some earbuds in his lap and therefore assumed there must be a dead jogger in his trunk. Yeah. All right, some of these are short. One of them's pretty long. I think we'll do... I mean, that one just happens to be the last one, too. And it was amazing because it was the first case so far that has that is regarding a black woman that actually had a lot of detail in it. I think the papers just couldn't ignore it at some point. So that one was, I was pretty amazed in 1981. And then I bought that other service that Colleen Fitzpatrick mentioned, and one of the stories did have articles where newspapers.com had almost none. So I thought, oh wow, that's pretty cool. So there you go. So the donations that you make go to paying for those subscriptions, everything. See that? Jessica Schubach. Thank you. All right, so the first case we're going to be doing is Donna L. Edgar. All right, here we go. And this, again, these are in, this is 1981, February 16th in Akron, Ohio. Jessica Schubach. How long have you been around, Jessica Schubach? I've been saying that name forever. You know, tonight we should go back and do my flyby in that Utah area again. It's been a while. All right, so anyways, this is the case of Donna L. Edgar. And this is one that doesn't really have a ton of information. The woman found dead Friday in a wooded area of West Akron has been identified as Donna L. Edgar, 22, of 95. Let's see. We got them all in here. This is where her home is, right here. So Donna L. Edgar lived in this house right there back in 1981. Police said Miss Edgar, formerly of Warren, had been living at the Akron address for about a year. And was employed at an Akron restaurant. She had been missing since February 16th, but was not reported missing to Akron police until February 26th. So for whatever reason, it took 10 days for somebody to report her missing. And let's see. She is... Hold on one second. That doesn't say how old she is here. I think it says in the article, right? Yeah, she's 22 years old. Police said identification was made from dental records obtained from Warren and fingerprints supplied by Warren police. So, I mean, fingerprints, she must have been arrested at one point, right? We were 90% sure from the start that it was her, said Detective Lieutenant Joseph Bosco. The Summit County Coroner's Office has not yet ruled on the cause of death. Police said the body was found about 85 feet from Juneau Avenue, south of Stoner Street. All right, so let me see if I have this right. It's over in this area over here. Okay, so let me go through what they're saying here. It says, police said the body was found 85 feet from Juneau Avenue, south of Stoner Street. So this is Stoner Street. And this is Juneau Avenue. And then Juneau Avenue it's actually, I think it stops right here, because then there's this other avenue, Thurston Street. And then, let's see if that's still... I know Juneau Avenue goes right here, so maybe at one point this was still called Juneau Avenue, and then since then it's become Thurston. Right? Because see, it's Thurston Street, so maybe now somebody, was trying to honor somebody and just called that little side street Thurston Street. So this is Juneau Avenue and Stoner Street. Hold on. Yeah, Stoner Street's this one, the side street. So south of Stoner Street, 85 feet from Juneau Street. So it's, somewhere around in this area. And if you go back in time to 1994, it doesn't look like you can even see anything. Oh, wait, there it was. So it's a lot more wooded back then. You go now, well, it still looks like there's the same amount of woods, okay, in that area. So I would just guess right in this wooded area right there. 85 feet from the street. The body was partly clothed with the pants below the knees, so she was obviously sexually assaulted, and upper garments around the head. I mean, it's just so classic. Police said the body was discovered by a 68-year-old man taking a shortcut to his home from a hardware store on Diagonal Road. Police said at the time the woman could have been dead from 4 to 14 days. I wonder where Diagonal Road is. I don't see that. Oh, there it is. So, okay, yeah. So maybe he was at a hardware store here, and then was walking home, and kind of cut across, and then was heading somewhere over here, and went through those woods and found the body sitting there. Okay, and then there's this other story here. It says, no connection found yet in Akron women's slangs. Although Akron police say they suspect no connection yet, the discovery of the nude body of a 25-year-old woman, this is a different person, in a burned-out house Wednesday represents the third such crime they have investigated in the last 6 months. The body of Anna Marie Williams of 464 Talbot Avenue was found about 5:25 p.m. Wednesday by two youths playing in a torched house in East Akron. Miss Williams apparently was killed by a gunshot wound in the right temple and may have been dead 12 hours or more before her body was discovered. On March 27, the body of Donna Edgar, that's who we're talking about, 22, was found in a wooded area near Juneau and Stoner Streets. She had been shot in the back and was partially clothed with her pants below her knees. And then they mentioned another person there. Miss Edgar and Miss Mosley were found in West Akron, while Miss Williams was found on the east side. Now, in the case of Miss Williams here, I then followed her case for a little bit, and there were some other articles too, but it says, Akron man found guilty of murder. Jack Huff, 28, of Akron, was found guilty today of murder of Anna Marie Williams, 25, and sentenced to life in prison. Okay, so that case got resolved, but Donna Edgar's never was resolved. And that's it. I mean, they don't have any more information on that case, if you can believe that. 22-year-old Donna Edgar was reported missing on February 16th, 1981 no, it was actually February 26th, by family members. Edgar was found in a wooded field deceased with a gunshot wound about a month after that. So even this website by the actual state of Ohio here, they don't even have accurate information often. unfortunately. Okay, so that is the case of Donna L. Edgar. Absolutely no information whatsoever, but if you happen to know who she was, or I don't know how even somebody can help, but I just thought I'd bring up her case again, since it'll probably never be covered again by anybody. Okay, it's literally somebody who was murdered brutally, raped, and probably hopefully, well, I don't know what the order was, but I'm not sure if you could say hopefully she was shot before she was raped, because then all of a sudden you have even a bigger monster type person who's into necrophilia, or that she didn't suffer because she was shot first. It's I'm not sure which one to pick there. Yeah, and she doesn't even have, there's no picture of her either. Nothing. Okay, now the next case is Edward and Tammy Reese. And let's see. Their pictures are in here. And they were a newlywed couple. This is February 23rd, so not too far after that last case. A recently married Huber Heights man was found beaten to death in his locked home at 5616 Troy Villa Boulevard, and the body of his wife, who possibly was strangled, was found in a separate room, authorities said today. Well, yeah, but it's still the same house, so why didn't you just say that they were both... I mean, look, a recently married Huber Heights man was found beaten to death in his locked home. Well, why don't you say he was murdered, he and his wife were murdered in there? It was her home too, right? And the body of his wife, who possibly was strangled, was found in a separate room, authorities said today. The fully clothed couple, found about 11 p.m. Sunday, was identified as Ed Reese, 29, and Tammy, 21. They were believed to have been dead about 24 hours. Authorities declined to speculate about the motive. According to Huber Heights Police Chief Tim Fenian, or Fenian, I guess, Reese apparently had been beaten to death by a weapon which was not found. It was no hand beating, so it wasn't by fist. Jack Joyce, a Montgomery County coroner investigator, that's what he said. Although it has not been determined how the woman died, Joyce speculated she might have been strangled. An autopsy was to be performed to determine the exact causes. All right, let me get the location for this one. Yeah, and it actually seems like this is still the same place. I was kind of confused at first, but I'm pretty sure that that's what we're looking at right there. I mean, right? That's the same damn thing. So they lived in this kind of a condo area here. Thanks, Katie. Although it has not been determined how the woman died, Joyce speculated she might have been strangled. Fenian said the bodies were discovered after a relative unsuccessfully tried to contact the couple and asked police to investigate. Maybe that's Fenlon. Let's see, where was that name? Because right there it looks more like one letter. Fenlon said the bodies were discovered after a relative unsuccessfully tried to contact the couple and asked police to investigate. Fenlon said a uniformed officer had to remove a screen to get inside the home. Okay, Joyce said the man's body was found in the living room and the wife's body was in a bedroom. The house, Joyce said, did not appear to have been ransacked. A brother, Rodney Reese, 26, of 4418 Corundu Avenue, told the Dayton Daily News that he was notified of the deaths about 3 a.m. today, but he was told by police that the couple was slain sometime on Saturday. Rodney and another brother, Perry, 23, and their wives, Kathy and Teresa, stood outside the home at daybreak today, perplexed over the killings. Reed had worked at the production line in the instrument panel and pad division of Inland Division of General Motors in Vandalia since August 1st, 1973. So he'd been working there for, 7.5, 8 years. Reese's foreman, Bob Wellman, said Reese had worked on Saturday and left the plant shortly after 2 p.m. So let's see. So they were found at 11, fully closed, found about 11 p.m. Sunday. Okay. Reese had worked on Saturday and left the plant at 2 p.m. He said Reese also had worked part-time in the real estate business. The dead couple had been married 3 months, and Rodney Reese, who also said he had not seen his brother for a couple of weeks. He said he had been told little by police except that the couple was found late Sunday. The brothers said their father, Howard Reese, was en route to Dayton from his home in Ocala, Florida. Rodney said his brother is survived by a son, Chad, too, by a former marriage. Miss Reese, the former Tammy Sigmund, a graduate of Bellbrooks High School, is survived by her parents, Mr. and Mrs. Terry Sigmund. The woman's father said the Tobias Funeral Home in Bellbrook will be in charge of the services. Okay, so that was the first article. Then there's another one the following day. And now this is one I got from a third news service that I have. Yeah. Heber Heights detectives today are continuing the investigation of the slaying of a Bellbrook High School graduate and her husband, whose bodies were found late Sunday night in their condominium in that Montgomery County community. Police this morning said they have neither suspects nor motive for the killings of the recently married couple. Police Chief Timothy Fenlon said last night his department was working on a motive but did not go into details. The bodies of Edward Reese, 27, and his wife, the former Tammy Sigmund, 21, were found in their home at 5616 Villa Boulevard about 10 p.m. Sunday, when her parents and brother, Mark, 17, of Bellbrook, were unsuccessful in attempts to contact them by telephone. The couple died at about 11 p.m. Saturday, according to the Montgomery County coroners. So, about 24 hours before they were found. Reese died of severe blows to the... I wonder if it was somebody that liked her, because if you look here, she was some kind of, very young. There could have been this younger kind of guy that liked her. I mean, she was a beauty queen, apparently. Yeah, so he died of severe blows to the head and the wife from strangulation. Angry at the guy from taking her and then killed her in a more personal way. Both had been tied around the neck. Wow, that's crazy. So both had been tied around the neck, wrists, and ankles with wiring cut from telephones, an electric clock, and television set. The binding, however, was removed before the bodies were found. That's crazy. So why would the person, he had them completely tied up, You know, sometimes it makes you think that makes it two people, especially with adults. But, you know, if you have a weapon trained on the female, maybe she goes over, ties him up, and then he ties her up. Oh, not again, Billy Boy Blue, not again. Jeez. Reese also had been gagged with paper towels. So Tammy. So let me read this part again. Both had been tied around the neck, so it's like they were hogtied, right? Wrists and ankles with wiring cut from telephones, an electric clock, and television set. So it sounds like that he used stuff from inside the home. The binding, however, was removed before the bodies were found. Reese also had been gagged with paper towels, but the gag had been removed. He was found on the living room floor, and his wife. Okay, so Edward Reese. See, why not say Edward here? Because that's her name too. Okay. So he had paper towels in his mouth that he then, I guess, spit out or were taken out by the killer. He was found on the living room floor and his wife on a bed in the bedroom. Both were fully clothed, but without shoes. You know, maybe they just didn't wear shoes when they were at home at 11 o'clock at night. The home was not disturbed, and there were no signs that anything was taken. Also, police said there were no signs of forced entry, leading them to theorize that the assailant or assailants were let in. Neighbors heard no unusual sounds during this period. Miss Reese recently earned a real estate license, but was not employed. Her husband worked on the assembly line at the Inland Division of General Motors. Right. And they're looking for a motive here. Huber Heights police have no suspects and no definite motive in Saturday night slaying of a recently married couple in their home. He said police were working on a motive but refused to elaborate. I think they already mentioned that. I think this might even be the same article that we were just looking at. Different paper though. Alright, and then this is the final article on it. Just that was done 7 months later, more than 6 months after Tammy, or 6 months I guess. Tammy and Edward Reese were found slain in their Huber Heights home. Authorities say they are no closer to solving the killings. The bodies of Reese, 27, and his wife Tammy, 21, were found in their home. Again, and according to Captain George McLaughlin of Huber Heights Police, since that time, hundreds of persons have been interviewed in the slayings, and several out-of-state trips have been made in connection with the case. You kind of wonder, you know, where she came from. Let me see that. Did it mention anywhere in here where she came from? They were newlyweds, right? I wonder if there's something in the paper about that. Hold on. Let me read the thing below here. Poses as future farmer's queen at the Greene County Fair 1974 photo. Tammy was a freshman at Bellbrook High School at the time. She and her husband Edward Reese were found dead at their Huber Heights residence Sunday night. So that's 1974, which is... I mean, I guess at that time she would have only been like 15, right? In this picture right there. Yeah, so she's from Ohio. I'm trying to figure out why they would have left the state. But I bet you it's somebody who wanted her, and then after she got married, just went and killed him out of revenge. Because it's I don't think it's coincidental that they were married recently. And she's very young and he's a little bit older, you know, 27 and she's 21. And actually she would have been like almost 14 if this is 1974 to 81. That'd be 6.5 years from 21. It's like 15 and a half in that. Yeah, Pasta Joe's too late now. There was a time limit on that. I know, Billy Boy Blue. I mentioned that at the start of the show. You should try to show up on time sometimes. And it's not Saif. It's Steph. I watched the whole game. Well, Damian Lillard scored over 60 points 3 times last year. So I didn't hear you saying anything about that. He was the first person since Wilt Chamberlain to do it. Anyways, all right, let me get back to... do you mind if we focus in on the cases, Billy Boy Blue? Because that had absolutely nothing to do with what we were talking about. Neither did the comment about Pasta Joe. Pasta Joe's just like Craft Set, you know. Just types in comments here and there. Even though we've all said the comment, they just type them in. Alright, here we go. And that's it for that case, right? You'd think there would be a little bit more on that one, but there's absolutely no other information. I mean, there might be somewhere out there somewhere. I couldn't find it quickly or even after looking. I mean, I looked for a long time to try to find the sequence in the paper. Then I have a large range and try to find any reference to it later. All right. Yeah, well, do you want to be Bush and Beach lifestyle or what? What are you trying to tell me there? I don't get what that means. Was that a question or see why I'm not chit-chatting? What does that mean? It'd be cool to be able to actually get documents under the Freedom of Information Act for these cases. I just don't have time to wait months to get it. Now, if I was going to do a bigger dive into something, I might. Right. I don't like it that much, but you know, if you want to do it, go ahead. I'm just saying it seems kind of ludicrous to be talking about something completely unrelated to what we're talking about. As I've said 100 times. But, I mean, go ahead, you know. So you're always causing issues, you know. Let's see. I mean, why make your comment? See why I'm not chatting? You see what I'm saying? All right. Just... God, I'm getting so sick of even just doing shows now. It's just, wow. All right, I'm going to move on to the next one here. The next one is one that we've all talked about. It's the... it's actually the buckskin girl, but it was right during the same time in Ohio. So it's coming up. All right, so this is one that came up in the sequence of the old cases that I was looking at. And I found the original articles when she was found. Investigators seeking dead woman's identity. Miami County Sheriff detectives. This is one that the DNA Doe Project solved. Miami County Sheriff, and that's Colleen Fitzpatrick. Miami County Sheriff's detectives are attempting to identify a woman found dead about 10:10 a.m. Friday, face down in a ditch on Green Lee Road east of Pleasant Hill. Detectives said the body was taken to the Montgomery County Coroner's Office for an autopsy to determine the cause of death. Detectives said it appeared the woman had not been shot, but there might be head injuries. It is suspected she was a victim of a homicide. Hey, Andrea. According to reports, Greg Breidenbaugh, who was in the process of moving into a farmhouse on Greenlee Road, found the body. He told detectives he had noticed clothing strewn around the roadway when he made his first trip to the new home Friday. Yeah, so I think I kind of found out where this location is. Yeah, so she was just found on this road right here. So it's somewhere on this road right there. And it's north of this road, so and it ends right there. So it's on this road. Her body was found, somewhere around in here in a ditch. And probably like just off to the side right there. Again, near a cornfield, Detectives said the body was taken to the Montgomery County Coroner's Office for an autopsy to determine the cause of death. Detectives said it appeared the woman had not been shot, but there might be head injuries. It is suspected she was the victim of a homicide. According to reports, Greg Breidenbaugh, who was in the process of moving into the farmhouse on Greenlead Road, found the body. He told detectives he had noticed clothing strewn along the roadway when he made his first trip to the new home. He said on his second trip he stopped to investigate and discovered the dead woman. The woman was described as about 25 years old, 5'6", weighing 125 pounds. She had long reddish-brown hair tied in pigtails. She was barefooted, clothed in jeans, a dark blue turtleneck sweater, and fringed buckskin jacket. That's why she was called the Buckskin Doe. Yeah. I don't mind if you guys all say hello and everything, okay? I mean, that's why I have the little time thing. Okay, but I'm hoping that when we're covering cases that your ideas and thoughts are directed towards the cases, right? Because that's sort of like what it's all about. So when I look over and you say, well, wow, I just had my first COVID shot today, and boy, and then everybody starts going, oh, wow, how did it feel? It gets really discouraging to be doing a show like that, okay? I'm not saying that's what happened, but it's just like that. And I've explained it to you 100 times, so it's weird that I'm having to say it again. When I don't even want to talk about it. But Bush and Beach lifestyle, everybody keeps bringing up this stuff. That's what I'm trying to say. I just want it to be sort of natural, though. I don't know why it's so confusing. Yeah, I'm just going on and on in this state. I mean, we're just at 1981 at this point. Hey, thank you, Stacy. Wow. By the way, you guys should go check out Stacy's comments on the. She was like, it was pretty cool. I love you too, Stacy. Thank you very much.
Happy 2021, everyone. I hope your year is full of happiness and joy. I look forward to spending many evenings with you all. Gray, you're the best true crime investigator, and I love you so much, my wonderful friend. You're all family for me, and I love you all so very much.
That's so kind. Thank you very much. Yeah, that makes, always makes me feel better. The comment, the donation's cool too, but whenever I get the comments in emails and so forth like that from people, kind of makes my day. This whole, I don't want to keep talking about, just the random stuff that gets people off track and giggling and laughing about something, because you're going to miss something, and then 2 minutes later you're going to ask a question and you won't have heard it. Okay, I guess that's up to you, but it is what it is. And I don't really mind if you guys are, you go off for a minute or something, but it's just weird how it goes on for like a long time, and sometimes one joke builds on another and another and another and another. But thank you very much, Stacy. Yeah. Stacy was too logical on that post earlier on that other video. Yeah. All right. So, anyways, this is Buckskin Girl. If you guys have seen her before, right, on DNA Doe Project, and it's kind of interesting because they literally have a picture of each of the what she was wearing here. Look. So she had on this turtleneck, and then this sort of buckskin thing over the top of it. And then she was wearing these, looks like bell-bottom jeans right here, right? No, she wasn't from Arkansas. Well, she might have been from there, but she was killed in Ohio. Yeah, so anyways. Yeah, I'm just trying to get through it, though. So thanks for filling in what we were going to be reading. So I just wanted to know if you'd heard about it, not all the details. So there you go. You got the buckskin right there, the jeans, and the turtleneck right here. And these are some of the drawings that people made. That's not really a drawing. It's somebody clipping stuff together. That's an actual bigger close-up. Well, no, it wasn't answering the question, B&B. You added other information. Just say yes, All right, because then now we all know everybody, hey, she was from Arkansas, everybody. We all know that now. Okay, so then the next one is this one right here. This is what she was wearing. She had only been dead a day or so. So this is another one of those scenarios where they have a very good picture of her face. Crystal clear, right? And then this is a closer up image of the jeans she had on. And then let's see. This is one of the newspaper articles back then too, where it said, drawing of strangulation victim brings leads to Miami detectives. The Miami County Sheriff's Department received a dozen telephone calls overnight in response to a composite drawing released Tuesday of a strangulation victim, her general description and photograph of the buckskin jacket she was wearing. Detectives began immediately following the leads, then received overnight. They admit they are stymied in their investigation into the death of the young woman whose body was found face down in a shallow ditch on Greenlee Road west of Troy Friday. Yeah. So this is Greenlee Road, and Troy is right, where is Troy? Yeah, Troy's right there, so west of Troy, right over here. Counting on the publicity given by the area news media to bring leads to her identity, Lieutenant Gary Alexander said, anyone who has any reservations about calling the sheriff's department should go ahead and contact us. Any information we receive will be helpful. Now, this was 1981. Alexander said within 8 hours after the body was found, he and Detective Robert Schweitzer and Tom Eiler began circulating a photograph of the victim. Yeah, so that means they took a picture of her because she probably looked decent at the time. You know, like when I say decent, I mean she wasn't decomposed or anything. He said over the weekend the department received about 200 leads. We don't feel the death took place on Greeley Road, Alexander said. He also ruled out at the time any connection between this homicide and the strangulation death of a Tip City woman in February. Yeah, I don't know about that. He also ruled out at this time any connection between this homicide and the strangulation death of a Tip City woman in February. Okay, detectives believe one of their strongest leads to her identity is the handsome dark tan buckskin jacket with long fringes, a garment that could have been handmade. She was wearing a brown sweater with an orange diamond pattern on the front and blue jeans, but no shoes or stockings. Deputies said the autopsy performed at 2 p.m. disclosed she had been strangled and had been dead between 36 and 48 hours prior to the autopsy. So she was strangled, and I don't know why they immediately say it's not related to the Tip City one. How do you know? The woman was white, about 26 years old, 5'6", and weighed 130 pounds. She had long reddish-brown hair in 2 braids tied with blue rubber bands. She had a 2-inch scar on the thumb side of the left wrist and 1-inch horizontal scar on the left wrist on the palm side and a small scar under the chin. The woman had a light birthmark on the front left thigh. Lieutenant Alexander said the woman was not wearing any jewelry and there was no indications of her fingers. On her fingers, she had worn rings recently. I was like, whoa, her fingers. Alright, so then there was this other case, this one, strangulation victim remains unidentified. And this one hasn't been solved yet either. You know, not that I could find. I looked everywhere, I couldn't find it. Police said today they were without any leads. So I'm putting this in relation, because this is the one they were referring to. And I found this one just by typing in the criteria that I knew existed for, Marcia King, who was actually Buckskin Girl, right? So in doing that, it came across these articles here. Police said the woman was wearing a white floral blouse, blue pants, and brown shoes. She was found lying face down off a small access road down a slight slope in a cemetery. Police said there was a short piece of new nylon rope around her throat. So she was, strangled as well. Assistant Miami County Coroner Walter Meeker has tentatively ruled the death strangulation. She is believed to have been dead about 4 hours. Police theorize she was killed elsewhere, again, just like the other one, and the body dumped at the isolated area. But here's the thing that's even more interesting. It's like, that's where Marcia was found, right? And then look where the other girl, she was just right here. I mean, it's not like it's... I don't think that's a stretch at all to think these could be related. They're within 2 months of each other. And 10 miles apart. Very close. In this small area here. And this one's never been solved, so I don't know why they say that they can't be related. They're both strangled. They're both dumped. Weren't killed where they were found. I mean, I know that's common for serial killers, whatever they're doing. But is it really that common, like within a 2-month period, within a distance that close to each other? Yeah, we know, Susan. We know, Susan. I'm just going over it because it showed up in my cases. Man, don't you? I hate when these clowns show up. When you're going over a case, as if we're so dumb, we don't know what's going on here. And they always want to fill you in because they want you to know how much they know about it. Okay? Listen, just let it be, all right? I'm going over the case. We all know. I even started off saying the DNA Doe Project solved who she was. Okay? The case, however, is still not solved. All right? Her identity has been solved. And maybe that helped. That was 2 years ago. And maybe that's helped. Oh, God. It's unbelievable. You know, then they always get offended when you bring them up, but it's like, no, kind of just look at yourself, what you do when you, you know. Bizarre shit. The woman is believed to be between 19 and 25 years of age. She is described as 5'7", 150 pounds, with light brown hair and pocket-marked complexion. All right, so there's that. Hey, thanks, Robin Frost. Happy New Year's to you, too. Right. Okay, then this next one, this is the other case that we're talking about. Tip City Police said they are still hunting for leads in the strangulation death 1 month ago today of 27. It's okay, Susan. I'm just saying it gets really old. People seem to do that on every show. You know? So whenever there's a case that, breaking news, DNA solved, I almost lament doing it because I go back in time and I cover it, and then somebody looks it up really quick and has to tell, hey, that was solved today, everybody. Look at it. His name was Jim Smith, and he was, you know. And tell me how many times that's happened. 1,000. Hey, thank you, Robin Frost.
Happy 2021, the year of vaccination. Cheers, Gray, for your excellent work in 2020.
That's right. Now, if I can just go get that damn vaccination. Because I'm going to jam that sucker in my arm. Yep. I don't know. We kind of kicked ass ourselves in 2020. You know, 2020 didn't take away our $22,000 in donations. Right? So, where it kept us in our homes, you know, I think we were pretty damn productive. Yeah, lots of murders in Ohio. Tip City Police said they are still hunting for leads in the strangulation death 1 month ago today of a 27-year-old Deborah Prince of Hartman Drive. Several persons will be given polygraph tests, you know. And then Tip Police still puzzled by slaying. You know, this is about her. The body of Miss Prince, who lived at 105 Harmon Drive, Tip City, was discovered by a jogger. She was unidentified for nearly 24 hours before a boyfriend reported her missing. He later identified the body as that of Miss Prince. Sergeant, I don't know what RE stands, said the investigation is continuing. Police have talked to people who worked with the woman, and so they never solved that case. So anytime you have a situation like this in a rural area, basically, you know, there's a town here, you know, but it's not like there's millions of people living here, and you're in a 2-month period. You have a strangulation body dump here and a strangulation and body dump here. She wasn't identified for 24 hours, and this happened to be buckskin doe right here, and she was found right in that general area. And she, however, was identified. So here's the DNA Doe Project link. There she is right there. And that's actually a pretty damn good picture. And look at, these are some of the ones that people came up with, right? This one and this one. And, you know, that's her real picture. So I think this one's got too narrow of a nose there. It might have thrown people off. I mean, these are better than some of the ones I've seen before, you know, like this one here. What's weird is they actually have her actual face, you know, with her braided hair. They could have probably just put that out there, And this is another one here. You know, that one probably does use her actual face just because of the way it looks. So, anyways, this is her right here. Her name is Marcia King. And it says, today we announce that Marcia L. King, this is DNA Dope Project on April 10th, 2018, that Marcia L. King of Arkansas has been identified as the Miami County Jane Doe who became known as the Buckskin Girl. She was 21 years of age at the time of her death. The DNA confirmation was made on Monday, April 9th, 2018 by the Miami Valley Regional Crime Lab. The scientific assistance that finally led to the victim's identification was conducted by the DNA Doe Project, a non-profit organization recently created to apply genetic genealogy tools to the identification of unknown persons. The victim's DNA was obtained from a blood sample that had been in storage since 1981. Jeez, that's crazy. It was processed using advanced DNA techniques and uploaded to a public genealogy database, GEDmatch. The DNA Doe Project was founded in 2017 by Colleen Fitzpatrick and Margaret Press. The Miami County Jane Doe case was accepted as one of the first cases for the project. The DNA Doe Project relies on genetic genealogy tools similar to those used by genealogists for analyzing DNA results. So much is known about Buckskin Girl, but at the same time, so little. She was discovered April 28, 1981 in Troy, Miami County, Ohio. She had been strangled. Because her body was found with a day or so of her death, DNA, fingerprints, and dental information were available. I think it meant to say within a day. But after 226 rule out, she has remained, but after 226 rule out, not sure what that means, she has remained unidentified. Buckskin Girl is so named because, I think this is prior to her being found, the stuff that we're looking at. She was barefoot, buckskin, between 18 and 27. She's wearing the buckskin. Let's see. Yeah, and here she is. Marcia Lenore Buckskin Girl King. Today we announce that Marcia King of Arkansas has been identified as a Miami County Jane Doe who became known as Buckskin Girl. She was 21 years of age, so they had that right, at the time of her death. The DNA confirmation was made on Monday, April 9th. I wonder, I'm going to read through this just to see what she was up to, see if they come up with that. The victim's DNA was obtained from a blood sample that had been in storage. The victim was found within 36 to 50 hours. The body had been placed face down, and the victim had suffered trauma to the head, strangulation, and her shoes were absent from the scene. Okay. Authorities believe that she had been killed elsewhere and left on the road after her death. Because of the absence of footwear, some believe she may have been murdered by an abusive significant other. That's just so weird that's your take, you know, like, oh yeah, and I saw this on a web sleuth thread that they were saying, oh yeah, no, I think she was, you know, this person came up with this elaborate abuse story based on that she didn't have her shoes. How do you know it wasn't a trucker or something that she was riding with and she took her shoes off, you know, got comfortable, and then boom, you know, she was killed. I mean, it's just so there is nothing about having your shoes off that leads me to think that she was killed by an abusive boyfriend. I guess what they're assuming is that they were at home and she was killed at home and then dumped somewhere. The young woman's reddish-brown hair was braided into pigtails on both sides of her head. Blue rubber bands had been used to hold the braids in place. Her eyes were light brown, and she had many freckles. So this is... Now we're going back before she was found. I wonder if the families come up with some, what's the reason maybe she was in Ohio all the way from Arkansas? You know, because Arkansas is over here, and you're gonna. I mean, I don't know. Sounds like to me like she was traveling. And maybe she was hitchhiking, and maybe she got on a semi somewhere, and she took her shoes off and was riding, and then when the person got far enough away from where he picked her up, he killed her, and then he dumped her body. And the guy said he saw clothes strewn about. So was she? It doesn't sound like she had all of the clothing on her at the time. It was found with her, though. Let me go back to that first article just to see what they say here. Told detectives he had noticed clothing strewn along the roadway when he made his first trip to the new home Friday. He said on his second trip he stopped to investigate and discovered the dead woman. So that does say she was barefooted, but then was clothed in jeans, a dark blue turtleneck sweater, and so it sounds like she had that on at the time. So maybe there was other clothing. So let's say there is other clothing that was strewn around, but she wasn't wearing that. Or maybe he just thought he saw clothing, but it turned out it was a body. I'm not really sure. But it sounds like he says clothing strewn along the roadway when he made his first trip. He didn't say he thought he saw that. So if she did get on a truck, that means whoever the trucker was would have just thrown out, or somebody who killed her, picked her up as a hitchhiker, would have just tossed her out and her clothing. And that would match that. Why would if a significant other did that, I don't think they would have had the foresight to, let me grab all of her shit out of the house really quick. And I don't know. I don't even know why that's a theory. I mean, I understand it being something that's possible. It just seems so... I think that was B&B up there that said lazy. It is. It's just... Hey, it's just so simplistic, and those are usually the comments that I make, that I comment back at when somebody makes it. And then they get all butthurt and say, "Gray, you're so mean. Can I just have my thoughts?" No, you can have your thoughts, but I might say something. You get it? That doesn't make any sense, Gene. She was obviously hitchhiking to go a distance, right? Let's see. Yep, that was... yeah, that was Mary Lou, yep. Right. If she was going to hitchhike like 50 miles to a friend's house, she wouldn't have to change her clothing. It seems like she obviously had, if that is what's going on here, I don't know if this is just, oh yeah, they were strewn across, but it was actually her. I thought that was just clothing strewn across. It seems like that's a big difference, though, to say clothing strewn along the roadway, and then he said, oh wow, and then he discovered a woman's body. It doesn't say he realized that what he thought was clothing was a dead woman. It's almost like they are separate. Yeah, maybe, Charlene. Maybe aliens, too. Just don't know at this point. Yeah, they would have found the shoes, right? I mean, the guy would have dumped the shoes as well. Could be anything. Just coming up with that, oh, it was an abusive relationship, just seems so convenient. Like, just sort of like, oh, yeah, you know, it was... You know, and it probably by somebody who felt that way herself, so then assigned it to that, and everybody jumped on, and then it became this big theory. I mean, I don't know what you can come up with in that little bit of information that was known at the time that could make anybody immediately come up with that as a big theory that everybody's talking about, and it obviously became the number one theory. I'm not saying it's not possible, but what in that story makes that story the most viable theory? All right, anyways. That is it. Yep, and this is that same website here. It's a remarkably clear picture for 1980 something. Usually they get that weird look to them. Yeah, maybe she had on those penny loafers. What were those ones called? Those cool ones in like 1985 that everybody had on. You'd wear jeans in those. Do you remember that? You're probably not. What the hell were those called? They weren't called penny loafers. They actually had a name there. No. Yeah, there you go. Docksiders. There you go. Ha ha. Yeah. I think that was it. I think that's it. Let me check. Yeah, oh yeah, that was it. Yeah, these things right here. Everybody had those on. Remember that? You wear your 501s, some of those, a sweater or something. That was pretty weird. It's weird to have that flashback. Only those are guys' shoes. Yeah, no socks, right, exactly. Or if you did wear socks, you'd wear like paisley socks, something like that, as long as it sort of worked with other items. But yeah, a lot of times you wouldn't wear socks. Thanks, Sarah M. Look at that big glass of cranberry juice. I was going to ask you, Charlie-Ann, but then I thought, well, I don't want to offend her. I don't know how old you are. Right. Yeah? Okay. So that's it for that one, but I thought it was interesting that it showed up and still unsolved. They figured out who she was. So I know that knowing who she was probably helped police out dramatically. However, after 40 years, that's going to be tough. At least the family got to, bury her and know what happened to her, I guess. A crisp 27. All right. Not like us old. You're half my age. Not like us old farts. Are all the curmudgeons like myself, So you guys have any thoughts on that case there before I move on to the next one? What's the opposite of crisp? Yeah, there you go. Not soggy like us, the older people. Yeah. Yeah, like Frosted Flakes. Now, do you guys like Frosted Flakes when they are still frosty and crisp with the whole milk? See, it's always so much better with whole milk. Or do you like them after they get soggy and they're in the bowl for a while? I think most people would say the crisp, crunchy version. Man, it's soggy, huh? Jeez, yikes. I don't like that at all. I like that. Yeah, 2%'s not bad with them. I know, they should have put the picture of her dead in the newspaper. Unfortunately, she was from, Arkansas, so nobody from Arkansas saw the picture, I would imagine. And there wasn't the internet back then. I'm surprised, though. Her picture probably was going around on the internet even before DNA Dope Project picked it up. And you'd think that somebody would have went, God, that looks just like our sister or daughter, or, something. It's always shocking to me. Because, the internet's been a big deal for a long time. Since about, I would say, like 1996, the internet's gotten more and more and more and more popular. I mean, it was going on before that, but that's right when it became big. Like 92, I was using the internet. I think maybe even before that. My brother used to use the internet because he was like always a dork, but he was ahead of everybody. He was using those little server. It was before the internet was actually what it is. He'd communicate with people all around the world on whatever the hell that was before. I forgot what you called it, like the hell, I can't remember. Well, all there is she isn't from there. She was dumped. And she had on some unusual... Yeah, right. There isn't really a ton of information. There's almost no information. Now they know a lot about where she's from and her life and everything like that. But the only information was that she's strangled. And so that means to me, if she was strangled, then why would it be a domestic, like sort of an accidental, like a domestic violence thing, and then he panicked and then dumped her body somewhere? It sounds like that's when you're strangling somebody, you're slowly, for 3 minutes, you're holding onto that and you're killing them. So, I don't know if everybody was saying that it was accidental domestic violence, but I'm just saying. Yeah, it was before WWW stuff. Okay, now moving on to the next one. Yeah, I don't know. It's called something else. All right. Okay, the next one is Robin Elaine Hartman. This one's one that has almost no information. And this is her right here. And she was 19. So that's her. That's the only picture I could find. And then says right here, a body so decomposed that authorities could not immediately confirm its sex was found Friday afternoon in New Moorfield, north of Clarence, north of the Clarence J. Brown Reservoir. The Clark County Sheriff's Office said 2 boys going fishing discovered the corpse about 4 p.m. lying in a ditch off Temple Street, adjacent to a parking area used by fishermen. So I think I actually found at least this spot here. This is where, let me show you where she lived, by the way. Because they actually identify her. She lived in this apartment complex right here. And then her body was found. This is where I have it. So let's see what you guys think on this. So it was lying in a ditch off Temple Street. Okay, this is Temple Street right here. Adjacent to a parking area used by fishermen at the reservoir. So I would think that it would be like, you know, right around in this area here. It kind of almost looks like there's this little area where you can drive down and park there. I wonder if it's... No. Right here, and then you could go down and have access to the reservoir right there. Because over here you're getting further and further away from this area. The area is just northeast of Springfield. Lieutenant John Posey of the Sheriff's Office said the body was turned over to Clark County Coroner's Office, where identification would be attempted through dental records. The Coroner's Office Saturday declined to give any further information about the condition of the body. And then body found near reservoir, that of Springfield woman. The badly decomposed body found Friday near the Clarence J. Brown Reservoir near Springfield has been identified as that of a Springfield woman. Clark County Sheriff's deputies said the victim is Robin Elaine Hartman, 18, of 1519, so she was only 18, Pauldeo Court. She was reported missing August 2nd, but had been last reported seen at her home July 29th. Deputies said identification was made by dental records. The cause of death is unknown because of the condition of the body. 2 youths found the body in a ditch near a parking area off Temple Street. And believe it or not, folks, that is it for that one. I mean, they have nothing. Why though? You know, it's you know, the newspaper. Here's something that you can, you know, sort of feel good about, is that even though the newspapers don't cover these cases, it sounds like police still investigate the hell out of some of these. Okay, the news just didn't keep covering it, and I don't know why this one wasn't important to them either. You know, it's interesting. I mean, there was apparently in here, hold on, I think there was a little bit more in this one.
Love Gray's mapping skills.
Thanks, Shelley Wagoner. Clark County Sheriff deputies were sent to the dead end of Temple Street. Well, there you go, that makes sense where I had that. The dead end of Temple Street in New Moreland, reference to a decomposed body found over an embankment. The body was later identified as Robin E. Hartman, who had been missing on August 2nd, 1981. Robin Hartman was last seen prior to her disappearance on June 29th in the city of Springfield, Ohio, at the intersection of, so let's do South Light Street and High Street. So not far from there. So what was she doing at this intersection? So that's where she was last seen. Okay, so she lived here, last seen there, and then her body was found, so here, here, and then, wait, no, right there, here, here. So, yeah, I guess that kind of makes some sense. You know, I don't know if she was a sex worker or not. I mean, it's kind of, you know, a lot of times when someone's just picked up on a corner, you're either hitchhiking or something else going on. She was just hitchhiking or something, but anyways, this is the last place somebody saw her. She lived here, and she was here, and then she's found over here. Yeah, so I'm sure the police have a hell of a lot more information, but we don't. Well, it sounds like she was just standing there. That's when she was last seen there, so she could have been driving, I don't know. It just says she was last seen at that intersection. Look at all these pins from the last few days here. Look at this. Just right there. Just crazy. Good night, Richard Watts. And yes, everybody, we are still raising funds each month now. We're still doing the charity thing, but this month, this year, it's probably more important because we are trying to raise funds for the genealogy program. So if you pretend that Stacy didn't exist tonight, we're on one of those really bad nights. Well, the pins are just all things related to murders. You know, all the different locations and so forth. So they can either be where the bodies were found, where somebody lived, where they had been, but it just shows you it's all packed in there. God, if Richard just had a different last name, I tell you. All right, now the last story here has more information, which was, and some of the articles are longer than others, but there's one article that's really long, or it's not really, really long, but it really puts it all together. And what's cool is that this is it's a black woman, and the newspaper actually took the time and covered it, and there was a lot of outrage in the newspapers by people, so that might have been why they covered it more at the time, but it was still never solved. Are you guys interested in that one now? There you go. Hey, thanks, Gene Fish. Yep. Well, we've already put 1,000 towards whatever this, I'm hoping it's going to be the 1961 Hitchhiker. I think that one would be awesome. From Alabama, right? So we've already got 1,000 towards that.
the DNA project.
Hey, hold on one second. I'm going to go fill up my water. Be back in like 20 seconds. Okay, 32 seconds. All right. All right, so here we go. We're going to start off here. This one is pretty complex. Has a lot of stuff in it. Thank you, Daudio, Caspian Horses Rock. She always picks the best little images there. They always make me laugh. I wonder why it started working. I remember Jennifer was mentioning that earlier, and then it started. Then I signed in and on and again, and it worked, but it didn't seem to work for a while. I think she took off. But yes, if you guys want me to read something and understand what's something, you got to write me the full sentence, even though you've been communicating with somebody else, because I have no clue what you're saying. Yeah. Okay, so it says, Mom, my wife's in the kitchen now, pouring some water. Not sure. Yeah, the sink sounds like a waterfall on my show. It's weird. A young mother was beaten on the head, apparently raped and strangled, before her nude body and that of her 20-month-old son were dumped in Alum Creek, an autopsy disclosed Tuesday. Janice Beidleman, 21, of 4170 Beechwold Drive, so they lived here. It's almost like a military base.
Always enjoy the show. Thank you for your time and effort you put into these cases.
Thank you. Thank you, Lisa Bimmler. Or is it Beimler? Yeah, it almost looks like a military base. I don't know if it's like, I don't know why they look like this. They definitely aren't really pleasing to the eye, though. That's for damn sure. Yeah, it could be like low income. I don't know. I'm just saying. It just. You know, if you're gonna make low income housing, why not make it look good, so that they feel a sense of pride coming home? There's no reason you can't make it look better than that. That's insane, if that's what that is. Yeah. Well, you know, I don't think they should be better apartments than, you know, you got to have something to strive for, right? But you could at least make the outside look better. You know, you don't want to, you know, if you give somebody a better apartment, they're not going to have anything. Oh, well, shit, why would I want to make more money to get out of here? This thing is awesome. All right, but at least have the outside look better. You know, so, yeah, something you can come home to and go, oh, yeah. That almost looks like a military base or prison or something. It's wild. Anyways, so that's where she lived. I don't know if it always looked like... I don't know if it looked like that in 1981. It still had looked like this in 94. I don't know, though. I don't know if there was a house there or if that's something newer. So Janice Beidleman, 21, of 4170 Beach Wool Drive, and the diaper-clad body of her son Brandon Lamar Beidleman were found Monday in about a foot of water in the creek which runs along Bridgeview Golf Course. You know, so I found all these locations. Let me... The area is west of Sandbury Road and just north of Agler Road. So I think I nailed this spot. As a matter of fact, I think I'll keep going through this article. So that's where they lived, and then they were found right here, and it said, so this is Sandbury Road. Just let's see, the area is west of Sandbury Road, so that means over here, and just north of Agler Road, right here. Okay, now you can actually see this little trail down in there, and I wonder if that used to be a road. And then if you look right here, you see how there's this cement right there? That looks like that used to be access at one point to pull off and then go down there. And they are mentioning in here that there's something like that. Let's see. Franklin County Coroner William Adrian said the woman had bruise marks on her neck. I'm just reading up here again. And died of strangulation. He said she had several bruises from blows on the head and lacerations, scratches. And scratches indicating she had been raped. An autopsy disclosed her son died of suffocation. Well, hopefully they did a rape kit. Detectives speculated she had been beaten by a man's fist and that her son was suffocated with a pillow found near the creek. Homicide detective Robert Litzinger said he imagined at least two people who may have known the victim killed the woman and her child. Detectives said they are investigating the possibility that the attacker or attackers killed the woman elsewhere and then dumped her body in the creek. The blood was found in the victim's car, no blood was found in the victim's car, which was about 50 yards from the water's edge. You know, I'm kind of thinking that the car was found up. Let's just see if that makes sense. Yeah, look at that. It's right in that range. So if you go about to here, I bet the car was up in there. So this is about 50, right?
I don't mean to irritate you, Gray. And it bothers me that you think I do.
Oh,
Please
God.
sign.
Now
20.
Well, you don't irritate me. But now I am irritated because you put that in there. Yeah, this guy is absolutely crazy. I don't know. I don't know why they think two people. It's pretty easy. I mean, a kid that young is sort of, you know, they're not an issue for somebody, you know, really. Yep, shit happened. Detectives speculated she had been beaten by a man's fist and that her son was suffocated. Homicide detective Robert Leitner said he imagined at least two people. Detectives said they are investigating the possibility that the attacker or attackers killed the woman elsewhere and then dumped her body in the creek. No blood was found in the victim's car, which was about 50 yards from the water's edge. Stanley Beidleman, 24, the woman's husband, arrived at the creek while the bodies were still there. He wasn't even 2 years old, Mr. Beidleman cried, after police confirmed that the victims were his wife and child. Who would be so sick? Who could be so weak as to kill a child? I called the police at 6:30 this morning and they said I've got to wait 24 hours to make a missing persons report. Now my wife and baby are dead, and I've got to wait? It wasn't a question. And I've got to wait. Mr. Beidleman said, as police refused to let him near the roped-off murder scene. The mother and son had been missing since about 11:30 p.m. Sunday, when Mrs. Beidleman left her mother's home for the 5-mile trip home. According to Mr. Beidleman, her mother is Helen Foster of 2360 Marcia Drive. The next article has all of the timeline and everything, so I'm not going to show you that yet. Mrs. Beidleman's body was discovered about 1:20 p.m. Monday by William Mazzetti, 22, of 2823 Sunbury Road. Now this guy I did put in there, because he lives way up here, apparently. Let me get that again. 2823 Sunbury Road. I don't know if that was right. 22. That should be the same road. I was thinking that didn't sound right. 28. Shit. 23 Sunbury Road. Yeah, it does go up there. Yeah. That doesn't really make a lot of sense. Because this is Sunbury Road right here. So let's see, if you followed that all the way up. Still Sunbury Road, Sunbury Road, Sunbury Road. No, I guess if you keep following it around, there's still Sunbury Road. And then it maybe turn, yeah, there's Sunbury Road right there. I don't know. That's pretty crazy though. It's way up there. And turns out Brandon was found on the other side of the creek underneath this bridge. And I think she was found right there, and their vehicle was found somewhere over here. But this part I thought was kind of interesting. It said Mrs. Beidleman's body was discovered about 1:20 p.m. Monday by William Mazzetti, 22, of 2823 Sunbury Road. Mazzetti said he noticed a car similar to the victim's orange and white Vega Drive. Let's see. He noticed a car similar to the victim's orange and white Vega. That should be comma drive down a gravel road off Sunbury Road. I think it should be a comma. To me, it needed one. So she saw it actually drive off on a gravel road there. And that's why I'm thinking that that's what this was right here. Right there. Drove down there. And because I can't really find anything else. Even if you go back in... Let's see what it looks like if you find a time of year where... Yeah, there you go. So you can see right here, it almost looks like there's this little gravel road right here that you could park maybe and then walk down and go to the river. And then there's also this. Was this at one time a gravel road, maybe? But you can see right now that there was at one time a place right here that you could go. And I think that's where he witnessed her vehicle. The road is often used by fishermen to reach Alum Creek. Mazzetti noticed the car near the creek at about 12:30 p.m. Monday. So he saw the car go there at 10:45 p.m. on Sunday night, right? So the night that she went missing. And so that one of the things that interests me here, though, is this. Well, listen, The mother and son had been missing since about 11:30 p.m. Sunday when Mrs. Beidleman left her mother's home. Well, if they left the mother's home at around 11:30, then how did this guy see her car drive down a gravel road off Sunbury Road at 10:45? How did he see that? That doesn't even make any sense. All right, so that's 7:45. The road is often used by fishermen to reach Alum Creek. Okay, so then it says Musetti then noticed the car near the creek at about 12:30 p.m. Monday. So all the way the next day, he somehow went down there again or something, or could see through the trees, I guess, and investigated. Musetti said the driver's door was open and 10 to 15 bobby pins were on the car roof. He also said there was a print from a man's shoe on the ground on the passenger side. At the creek, Musetti found Mrs. Beidleman's body lying face up in the water. Franklin County Sheriff deputies found the boy's body on the west side of the creek beneath the Agler Road Bridge, shortly after Musetti summoned them. Columbus police were called. I mean, the whole thing just seems weird. Like, the night before you saw the car go down there. Of course, your time is not quite right, apparently. And then the next day you go by there again. And see, it's almost like, I mean, let's just pretend this guy's a suspect, right? It's almost like you said you saw something the night before to set up a decent reason why you'd be looking there. I was just kind of curious because I saw a car there at 10:45 and right. Franklin County Sheriff deputies found the boy's body on the west side. Columbus police were called because the bodies, which were about 50 yards from each other, were inside the Columbus city limits. Well, let's see where that... Oh, okay. Well, there's no delineation there. Mr. Beidleman said his wife went to visit relatives Sunday afternoon. Relatives said Mrs. Beidleman and Brandon arrived at the home of her mother-in-law. You know, I'll go through all this in a second. Mr. Beidleman said his wife called from West Home and said that she was coming straight home, but while at her aunt's, Mrs. Beidleman picked up her brother, David Foster. She visited briefly with her mother and mentioned that she might stop at a grocery store. So let me get to the next article, which has a much bigger breakdown of that. Okay, this is just the next article. And this is also on different newspaper service that I subscribe to. Janice Beidleman and her 20-month-old son Brandon were killed by two men, now they're saying, a half mile from where the bodies were found. So they think that they were killed in another location. They found that location, police theorized. Detective Robert Lissinger said police searched a barricaded road on the south end of Bridgeview Hills subdivision, where area residents heard a woman screaming and a baby crying and a man's muffled voice late Sunday night. After a dispatch story Tuesday revealed that some residents half a mile west of Sunbury Road, let's see, that's Sunbury Road right there. Oh, so it just kind of been in that area right there. Somewhere right around in here. I'll just, I don't know how accurate this is. I'm just gonna, just for purposes of, this is where maybe the murder and everything happened and their bodies were dumped down here. Some residents half a mile west of Sunbury Road and south of Algar Road. Okay, so south, half mile west. Let me do that again. No, that's point. What the hell am I doing? Okay. So over here. Okay, so then south. So maybe down in this little area here. Somewhere. So it's south of Algar Road, so maybe down in there. Heard the screams. So people in that area heard the screams. Lissinger said detectives are convinced that the screams were those of Beidleman, 21, of 4170 Beechwood Drive, and her son. The bodies of the nude Beidleman and her diaper-clad baby were found in Alum Creek about 1:30 p.m. Monday. Police believe the screams were those of Beidleman and her son because of the number of persons who heard them at the same time, Lissinger said. The crime scene search unit probed the area Thursday, but detectives have not received the results of the search. Lissinger said there was no evidence of a struggle where the bodies were found, and police cannot account for Beidleman's whereabouts from 10:30 p.m. Sunday. Okay, now we have it at 10:30 Sunday until residents heard the screams at about 11 p.m. He said there was evidence that Beidleman was raped and sodomized, indicating there were two assailants. Well, I mean, I don't know how that indicates that for sure. I mean, unless you guys have two different blood types. Did you guys store that DNA then? Beidleman was probably raped and killed, then taken from the area by her assailants when they heard a police helicopter arrive at the scene at about 11:13 p.m. Okay, so a police helicopter came in because people had called in the screaming sounds. Wow. The assailants were familiar with the area, Lissinger said. The car was driven around a guardrail barricade at the east end of Putter Avenue. Now we can get this. Here we go. Hopefully it's near here. Oh, I was close, man. I was on my way. Hell, I even had my pin on Putter Avenue. Come on. Let's get the booms in there. All right. Let's see. Detectives are convinced. Man, this is crazy. This whole thing. He said there was evidence that Beidleman was raped and sodomized, indicating there were two assailants. Probably raped and killed, then taken from the area by the assailants when they heard a police helicopter arrive. That was right at 11:13. The assailants were familiar with, and now the other guy saw the car in driving down that road at 11:30, and that's probably an estimate, right? The assailants were familiar with the area, Lissinger said. The car was driven around a guardrail barricade at the east end of Putter Avenue. So, let's see. This is 1995. And this is Clubhouse Drive. This is Putter Avenue. Oh, yeah. So there you go. It ends like right. Well, let's see. Wouldn't that be crazy if there's a guardrail still there? I can't see it right on the other side of that. But I bet you there was a way that you could once drive around. See? Like you could drive around and then... Let's see if it says that on here. Because now I'm looking at this road here, Clubhouse Road. and this road actually ends right here, and I bet you what they're saying is it drove around a guardrail and then went on the clubhouse road. Now, I haven't read this yet, but let's see if it says that. You might not believe me, but I always tell the truth. The car was driven around a guardrail barricade at the end of East Putter Avenue and then down an access road off Sunbury Road where the bodies were found. And let's see where Sunbury Road is. Yeah, see, this is back in 1981, and all we can do is go back to 1995. That's weird. I kind of wonder if it's this thing right. Oh, wait, hold on. Yeah, see, I was looking at this. There's a path that you can see that's there right now. And I wonder if at one time that's what this was. Although, you know, I guess you could get to where Brandon was found. But see this little Alum Creek multi-use trail thing here? And then if you follow that backwards, Alum Creek multi-use trail, you kind of get to, let's see, let me keep going. Yeah, let me go from here. So you're right there, and then sort of around in this area, you wonder if like right at the end of this road, you go around, and then you could get on to this multi-use trail here, and then end up in this area. Could be, right? Because this is the end of Putter Avenue right there. And you can see it actually ends. It does not continue. So went around something and then maybe made it, you know, maybe right there and then onto this multi-access road and then right underneath the bridge right there. And as a matter of fact, if you go to, look what it looks like. You know, this is what it looks like now, okay? But you could see, if you could somehow get to that, and now look at it. You're right underneath that bridge. It even, I think there's even, oh yeah, you know what's crazy? Watch this. There's even, I couldn't believe it when I saw this, but there's even street view down here. So imagine at one time, this may have been some sort of a little access area, and you can literally walk across this bridge here, and Brandon's body was found underneath this bridge on this side of the creek, right where I am. The creek looks like it's totally dry at this point. But you can imagine maybe they kept driving across if that was still there at the time. You know, I was thinking maybe they came in over here. And that's another thing too, is like the driver, the witness said he saw the car pulling in over here, so that makes that a little bit weird again. So nothing, there's a couple of things that don't quite line up, but a person had to be acquainted with the vicinity to know that he could escape from the other end of the blockaded road and to know of the access road. Yeah, see, that makes sense. From 10:30 on, we're blank. We're trying to account for that time. Beidleman and her son left her mother's house at 10:30 and were going home. So now it's 10:30, not 11:30. They were not seen again until their bodies were found in Alum Creek across from the Bridgeview Golf Club about 1:30 p.m. Monday. Her mother is Helen Foster of 2360 Marcia Drive. Yeah, so here we go. Now this one goes through this crazy, you know, the whole day really gives you a feel. So, you know, got to applaud the newspaper for actually covering this case even better in a way than some other cases. And I'm telling you, it's really rare when they do this with a black family back then. Okay, and it's cool to actually have a situation for once. I mean, you guys have been here. I've been explaining it. It's crazy. The newspapers hardly ever cover anything. So here we go. At the end of and this is all witness stuff we're about ready to read here. At the end of a row of identical townhouses, a young woman awakened. That's the housing project that looked like a prison. Awakened, fed her fussing baby, and comforted a husband who had just lost his job. So the husband's able to tell this stuff that we're hearing right here. It was not exactly the best of times for the young family, but Janice Beidleman was never one to brood over misfortune. At 21, she was happy just to have around her the family she always wanted. Husband Stanley, 24, her high school sweetheart, and 20-month-old son Brandon, her precious baby. Janice, friend said, believed you have to accept life as it comes one day at a time. This would be her last. Between 10:30 and 11 p.m. last Sunday, Janice was brutally raped, sodomized, and strangled, and her infant son was killed by suffocation. Their bodies were found the next day in Alum Creek near the Agler Road Bridge. Neither police nor the family members she left minutes before the slaying know what Janice and her husband, Janice and her son met this fate. 1 week later, they are still hunting for clues, still trying to explain an act that above all other crimes generates a sense of outrage, the killing of a mother and a child. Based on interviews conducted by Dispatch reporters last week with relatives, friends, and neighbors, this was Janice's and Brandon's last day. So here we go. This goes through the whole day right here. All right. At 8:30 a.m., the Parkley North complex of Westerville Pike is coming to life in a brick-faced townhouse numbered 4170 at the end of a building on a short lane named Beechwold Drive. Janice and Stanley wake up earlier than usual earlier than usual for us because I'm a second shift man, he says. Janice and Stanley wake up earlier than usual. Okay. 9 a.m. While Janice feeds the baby and prepares breakfast, Stanley turns on the television set, but his thoughts wander to the job he lost 2 days earlier. When he was laid off from the Fisher Body Division of General Motors Corporation at 200 Georgeville Road, the family's lifestyle is a simple one, but Stanley knows it's going to be tough if I'm not working. After breakfast, Janice embraces her husband and tells him they'll get by somehow. They always have. I always worry about money when I'm not working, he says, but she tells me, don't worry, honey. We're all together and we'll make it. Sounds like they had a really cool little family going there, you know. At 10 a.m., Janice and Stanley continue to talk, and the conversation turns ironically to death and the funeral of a family friend the day before. Because of the funeral, Stanley didn't take his usual Saturday afternoon motorcycle ride. Now, Janice encourages him to get out the motorcycle and have a good time to take my mind off of things. So she said, hey, why don't you go take your ride on your motorcycle, you know, because he was stressed out about losing his job and everything. She says she plans to visit relatives later in the day and he can go ride his motorcycle, right? So then at 11 a.m., Janice, dressed now in blue jeans and a light orange blouse, puts on some of her favorite jewelry, earrings, a gold necklace, gold ankle bracelet, and a watch. She picks up Brandon, clad only in a diaper and shoes, and they set out in their orange and white Chevrolet Vega to take Stanley to pick up his motorcycle, which is stored at a friend's house. The car's gas gauge reads nearly empty. So then at 11:20, the Beidleman family car pulls into the bonded oil, a gas station. Now they must resolve an immediate financial problem. Stanley and Janice only have $10 between them, Janice pays $3 worth of gas, leaving her with $2, and then Stanley gave her 2 of his dollars, and then he kept 3 for himself. At 11:30 a.m., after an 8-block trip, they arrive at the home of Samuel Newsom at 1878. I think I've got this one in here. Yeah, right here. This is kind of where I started putting it on a map. One of the places I can't find. Yeah, so here it is. This is the home of Samuel Newsom. You guys can sort of see everything as we're going through it. Yeah, so it's that house right there with the... Right there. And that's at 1878 Germain Drive. He is Stanley's longtime friend and a fellow member of the Rare Blood Motorcycle Club. Because Stanley has no garage, he keeps his motorcycle at Newsom's. All right, and so then 45 minutes later, Janice at 12:15 p.m., Janice puts Brandon, who has been playing with Newsom, the long time friend of Stanley. Brandon's playing with that guy, and she puts Brandon in her car. She kisses Stanley goodbye, and it's the last time they will see each other. Every time we were separating from each other, we would kiss goodbye and say I love you, Stanley says. It's just something we always did. We had friends who died, and we knew tomorrow was not promised to anyone. All right, then at 1 p.m., Stanley leaves with Newsom and other friends. Janice would later tell her aunt, Diane, so 45 minutes later, he takes off with his friend to go, riding his motorcycle. So then Stanley leaves with Newsom and other friends. Janice would later tell her aunt, Diane West, that she took Brandon home. So when she left at 12:15, she went back home and took Brandon home for the afternoon. She said she was just resting at home. She hadn't even cleaned the house, Diane said. Janice said she tried to take a nap but was interrupted by several telephone calls. And we don't know who the phone calls were from, but, she's young, probably just friends. Diane sees Janice's car so this is at 4:30 now. So roughly, basically almost 4 hours after she left the friend's house of Stanley, Newsom's house. About 4 hours later, Diane sees Janice's car pull up in front of her house. Now, Diane's a good friend of Janice. And her house is at 1048 Bonham Avenue. Oh! Yeah, at least I saved it all. Google Earth got too excited there. Just shut down on me. Don't get too focused in on the biker or anything like that, okay? It's just, bikers are good people too. It's not always, biker, they're killers. I guess I didn't save that part. Oops. Hey, look, we've got the subscribing thing again. No, she didn't pick up anything. Well, are you saying you solved it, Janet? Oh, there you go, a biker buddy. That must be the killer. Come on. All right, here we go. Okay, so she made it. She made it back home for a nap, but she couldn't take a nap, but her kid did. And then let me go to, now I have to put this back in here, but 10048 Bonham Avenue. And there's nothing there anymore. There used to be homes, I'm assuming, right here. As a matter of fact, if you go back to 94, you can kind of see some squareness in there. I can't tell for sure, but those look like those are probably living, you know, place to live, these little square things there. But because now it's totally different. I don't know for sure, though. But that's the address. 1048 Bonham Avenue. Alright, so that's where she went. Daniel sees Janice's car pull up in front of her house off Cleveland Avenue. Wait, so she says off Cleveland Avenue? Where's Cleveland? Man, that doesn't make any sense. 1048 Bonham. Yeah, I guess it could. Wasn't this Cleveland right here? Yeah, Cleveland Avenue. Okay, Cleveland and then Bonham. Oh, they're just saying Bonham is off of Cleveland. So, right in this area here. The visit is unexpected. So, her friend, Diane, wasn't expecting her there. Yeah, so it says Diane sees Janice's car. Oh, God. Who's this? So Diane actually sees Janice's car at 4:30, but wasn't expecting her to be there at all. But she said the visit isn't unexpected. I mean, it was unexpected, but the two were close, but so it wasn't unusual. Like she'd done that before. Okay. The two women are close friends. Those girls were like sisters, says Alex Malone, Janice's stepfather. The pair talk while Janice borrows Diane's curling iron to curl her hair. So they're just doing girl stuff. There's nothing weird going on, okay? And then at 6 o'clock, Janice takes Brandon and her brother, David Foster, 14, who was also visiting Diane, out to pick up some hamburgers for the group. We were going to go to McDonald's, David said, but Janice said that was too expensive because remember she only had $5 or something like that. She didn't have much money, so we went to White Castle instead. And then she came back to Diane's apartment, and it said, after eating, Janice and Diane decided to take the baby to visit his grandmother, Jeanette Beidleman, who lives in the Village Green Apartments off Woodland Avenue, about 1.5 miles away. And I can't remember, I had this all mapped out, but apparently I didn't save it, so. Janice puts Brandon in the car. Yeah. So, about 1.5 miles away, they go visit the grandmother. David stays behind while at the Beidlemans, Janice picks up a plate of food. Let me read this again. After eating, Janice and Diane decide to take the baby to visit grandmother Jeanette Beidleman, who lives in the Village Green Apartments off Woodland Avenue, about 1.5 miles away. David stays behind. So remember, David was there. He just stayed there, and Diane and Janice took Brandon over to visit grandmother. David stays behind while at the Beidlemans, Janice picks up a plate of food to take home for Stanley. Okay. Then at 9:30 p.m., Janice, who has taken Diane back home, receives a telephone call from Stanley while she's over at Diane's place, who is now at home. So now Stanley's back at home, where she was going to take the plate of food to. They were laughing in the background. So Stanley says he could hear that they were laughing. They were laughing in the background, and it sounded like they were having a good time, he said. I told her she could stay for a while, but she said she wanted to come home and put the baby to bed. So then at 10 o'clock, Janice leaves Diane's house. So it just stayed for another half hour. She leaves Diane's house after some prodding from Brother David. So her younger brother David, the 14-year-old, who stayed behind when Janice and Diane went to the grandmother's house, said, "Hey, let's get going, all right?" She was having fun, but I was bugging her. She was having fun, but I was bugging her to take me home because I had school the next day, said David, who attends Medina Middle School. Before Janice departs, both David and Diane see her write out a shopping list. She has some food stamps and says she plans to stop at the Kroger store, and that sort of, she has food stamps, so that really does seem like that might have been a low housing project at that point. It verifies that, I would think. She has some food stamps and says she plans to stop at the Kroger store at Northern Lights Shopping Center. Let's see if they have Northern Light. Yeah, that's still there. And it's right around the same area here. And I would imagine a Kroger. Krogers are still big, so I would imagine that's still here. Let's see. Maybe that's it right over there. Nope, Sriracha. I bet that was the... Well, let's see. It's weird, I typed in... Let's see. Well, there's a Kroger over there, so there's no Kroger here anymore. But I bet you this was probably a Kroger's at one point, in my opinion. Yeah, so that's kind of what they look like. This is where she was supposed to go. Is this interesting to you guys? I mean, this is a perfect article, though. I mean, it goes through every single Kroger's. Yeah, I mean, so look how close all of this is to each other. Oh, now I've got to go back. I think I didn't save the... Yeah, right here. Car goes through barrier. Alright, so we got that. So look how everything's right here. You got the Kroger's, and then the car goes through the barrier. Their bodies are found there. There's the Kroger's. So now let's get back to this part. So at 10 o'clock, Janice leaves Diane's house after some prodding from Brother David. She was having fun, but I was bugging her to take me home because I had school the next day, said David, who attends Medina Middle School. Before Janice departs, both David and Diane see her write out a shopping list. She has some food stamps and says she plans to stop at Kroger store at Northern Lights Shopping Center on Cleveland Avenue. Let me just make sure that says Cleveland. Yeah, that's Cleveland Avenue. That's the right spot. Okay. Janice loves sweet stuff, David added. She said she was going to get her some junk food. 10:15. Janice, Brandon, and David arrive at the home of Janice's mother, Helen Foster, and stepfather, Alex Malone, at, let's get this one. So this is going to be where she drops David off at. 2360 Marcia Drive. Wow, look how close everything is. So this is right in there too. So I already had that one in there. So that's where she drops David off. After a 2-mile drive, and then Janice stays only 15 minutes while letting the baby play with Alex. She again mentions stopping at a grocery store. So she goes, oh yeah, I still got to go to a grocery store. So then she leaves her parents' house at 10:30. David carries Brandon out of the car while Janice says goodbye. All right, so David takes Brandon out of the car first while Janice says goodbye and her parents. There was a pillow on the seat, so I put Brandon down on the pillow. So that's what David remembers saying. When the car backed out of the driveway, Miss Foster recalls seeing the receding headlights. Nobody saw which direction Janice headed. Now, was there somebody already in the car at that time? You know, in that moment where the car was unlocked, Brandon's in the back seat and David goes back inside. Well, I do. Well, it's not really that strange, Dynadim, because I do 3-hour lives every single day of the week. So you have a pretty good shot. So that's pretty crazy. So it could have been that when David put Brandon in the car, there was that little gap in time where the doors were unlocked, waiting for Janice to come back out to the vehicle. And somebody got in the car, and then when Janice got in the car, was forced to drive away. Or it could have been when, you know, maybe she made it to the supermarket. Let's see, though. When the car backed out of the driveway, Miss Foster recalls seeing the receding headlights. Nobody saw which direction Janice headed. The Marcia Drive home of Janice's parents is in a quiet neighborhood of streets that dead end to the north and east. So let's see. Yeah. So it kind of dead ends there and then dead ends over here. So yeah. To leave, Janice had to travel south or more likely east towards Cleveland Avenue. Let's see. Well, east is that way, but you'd have to go... Let's see. No, she's heading to Kroger's, though. So why wouldn't she just go like this and then over here? I mean, I don't understand why they're saying she would likely go east. Cleveland Avenue is wherever. They might have meant west. They probably accidentally said east in there. Okay. To leave, Janice had to travel south or more likely east towards Cleveland Avenue. Well, it's actually west towards Cleveland Avenue. So I think that's just an error right there. If she did reach the Northern Lights Shopping Center, she found that the Kroger store was closed. A 24-hour operation all week. The store closes at 10 p.m. Here, you know what? I'm going to check something really quick. Ah, shit. I knew it. Man, that was incredible. Oh, man, that thing shot 100 miles away. All right, hold on. Nearest. I'm going to check out where the nearest 7-Elevens are. Just trying to get the address of the parents again. So they got there at 10 o'clock. 10. Arrive at the home. Okay, 2360 Marcia Drive. God dang it. That's crazy. It's not letting me do it. Man, normally you can just click on it, type something in, and it does it, but it's not letting me do it. For some unknown crazy reason. But let's just say she goes to here and it is closed. So that's what they're saying, is that if she did go to the Kroger's, it was closed. A 24-hour operation all week. The store closes at 10 p.m. only on Sundays, and that's the day of the week that this was. Residents of the Bridgeview Hills subdivision off Agler Road. So she leaves there at 11:30, and then residents of the Bridgeview Hills subdivision off Agler Road see a car drive around barricades into an uninhabited area. That's exactly what we have. A woman screams and the crying of a baby are heard. It is in this area, less than half a mile from her parents' home, that Columbus police believe the two were killed. Janice, beaten and raped, was strangled. The baby apparently was suffocated with the pillow on which he was lying in the car that his Uncle David had put him on. Within the missing half hour, from 10:30 to 11 p.m., lies the answer to the mystery. Police believe there were two assailants, but say they have drawn a blank trying to fill in that time. The family says Janice, protective of her baby, would not have stopped to pick up a hitchhiker or aid a stranger. Did she stop for someone she knew, or was her car forcibly entered? I think it was forcibly entered. Janice's friends, Danette Curtis, addressed another question in a poem she wrote the day the bodies were found. The question that is not for you or I is to ask the Almighty God why. But the answer that is best is to know that our loved ones are at peace and at rest. You know what? You want to hear something that probably happened? She probably pulled up to the Kroger's, which I think is this store here, was. You know, she may have actually got out of her car for a moment to walk to the door to see the sign. Or she might have even had her kid with her because she didn't know it was closed, okay? But she got out of the car. Well, I don't know. I think she might have pulled up and was a little bit suspicious because there might have been not very many cars in the parking lot. Got out of her car, and at that moment somebody came by and had her get back in the car, and now they had control of it. And then they drove her from this area. I don't know. It just seems like if she went to here, she probably made it to this area, don't you think? I think she probably would have made it unless somebody actually got into her vehicle when she was still at her parents' house, and Brandon was being put in the car by David. You know, maybe at that moment, but then if there was two guys, really? I mean, don't you think somebody would have saw two guys getting into a car. I think she made it to the Kroger's, and this is where her car was hijacked by somebody. And then from there, they drove her and her son, Brandon, into this community, which is weird because you almost think at that point they live around in this area to know anything about this. Then they drive to the end of this road here, and I don't really know exactly what time. Let me try to figure out when that screaming. It was more accurate in the other article. Let's see. Yeah. Was probably raped and killed, then taken from the area by her assailant when they heard a police helicopter. So sometime after 10:30 to 11, that's when the screaming was heard. People called police, then a helicopter came, but the car drove around a barricade and then down into an uninhabited area, and then I think drove down to this area, which probably at one time was a gravel road, and then drove around, and then underneath this bridge put, this is where he dumped the bodies, for lack of a better term. He put Brandon's body here, and her body was found in the water, but they were actually killed over in this area somewhere out in here. So he took him here, drove him through this area, and then people in this area heard screams and crying from the baby, and that's about when they were being killed, somewhere down in here. Then the helicopters showed up, and then, it could have been that he drove through here when he heard the helicopters. I don't know for sure. Raped and killed, then taken from the area by their assailant when they heard a police helicopter arrive at the scene. The assailants were familiar with the area. The car was driven around a guardrail barricade at the east end of Putter Avenue, and then down an access road off of Sunbury Road where the bodies were found. Yep. A person had to be acquainted with the vicinity to know he could escape from other end of the blockaded road, and to know of the access road. From 10:30 on, we're blank. We're trying to account for that time. Beidleman and her son left their mother's house at 10:30 and were going home. Well, no, not really. They were going to go to the shopping center. They were not seen again until their bodies were found in Alum Creek. So here's the thing. I think originally they thought, well, gosh, they must have been abducted right after they left the grandparents' home. But then when you know that she really seemed focused in on going to the store to get some candy and whatnot. And you guys all know that. When you guys want a Snickers, boy, you're going to find a way to get one. So she was going to go to the Kroger's in this parking lot here. And I think she probably made it there, in my opinion. And I think it's in that area, sort of in a desolate parking lot at night, where her car was, forcibly taken from her and her kid. And I think she was the actual goal of the kidnappers, if there's more than one. And I think it's really possible there was just one, though, unless they have two DNA profiles. And they probably do have the DNA profiles if they did a proper rape kit at the time. Thanks, Zozo. So at that point, yeah, what a crazy story that is, man. I mean, you feel terrible for the husband, too. He lost everything he had. And it sounds like they had a really great marriage, supportive types. I hate spouses, either man or women, who bitch when, like, if you lost your job and all they do is bitch and complain and get angry at you, okay? You're not somebody that should even be married if you're one of those types of people, okay? Shit happens sometimes, especially during a pandemic. Yeah, I bet they would be. They seem like they're a really good team. Hey, it's Lanky Tor showing up out of nowhere. Oh, there you are up above. I didn't even see that. And this is them right here. And see, this is even on that Ohio site. They had a bigger write-up. I mean, you guys would be shocked if you saw what the normal write-ups are on there. Sometimes there's no picture and there's nothing in the details. And I just go looked at their name up. Like some of these interesting stories that we cover, I find, even when they have zero information in this detail section, I just go look their name up on newspapers, and then I find these crazy stories, you know, and that's how you can kind of keep mapping everything out, putting them together. I probably just killed, you know, maybe, yeah. He was smothered, so that's probably exact. Here's what I think probably happened is that the baby was smothered first, and then unfortunately she is assaulted after realizing her kid is no longer alive, which is absolutely, you know, disgusting. And then she ends up being murdered. So it's unreal. I mean, that's an absolutely crazy story, and good job, newspaper, for actually covering an entire story and putting in that kind of effort and getting that much detail into a story. You know, police took it from there, and apparently they didn't find anything. You know what they should have done was put out a ridiculous reward in that area, because that's life-changing shit. Like if you'd put out $100,000 reward in this area where there, you know, there's a lot of people who don't have that kind of money, that might have made a difference. And that's when rewards make a difference, when you have like really poor people. I'm not a big reward person, but it might have made a difference in this area. Thanks, Zozo. So, did you get your tornado? Cyclone? Whatever the hell you guys call them over there? Well, anyways, guys, that was it. Those are the 5 stories. I had this other one on a mini Graceland. You know, it was a murder from 1993. I'll keep that one for tomorrow. Had nothing to do with Ohio, but I'm going to keep going through the Ohio cases if you guys don't mind. I'm still in the midst of 1981. How you doing, Lanky Tor? I haven't seen you in a while. Yep, Janet. I will try to sleep well. Well, I think they might have DNA in this case. You know, this might be one to check in on. And maybe they just don't have the funds and they're putting it on a back burner. But what if, you know, again, this could be one of those ones for the identifinders, right? Hey, thanks. Is it Lanai, or how do you say that name? Lenny? Lanai? All right, everybody. Well, you know what I'm gonna do tonight? I'm gonna do the old flyby. All right, but make sure that you guys, you know, are still right now, especially. Oh, it's pronounced Lenny. Okay. Well, it looks like a Lenny, but I wasn't sure. Lenny, Brazil.
Yeah, wow, I thought that was Lanai.
Yeah, I know, but I thought it was either one.
Okay, well, I only thought it was Lanai.
Well, I didn't ask you if you only thought it was Lanai.
Okay, gee.
No, I haven't heard from Josh in a while. Not sure what he's doing.
Gray, you're so mean.
Wow. Well, some people don't stay around and keep watching the show. I'm sure Josh is fine. I don't know. I don't. He used to be here quite a bit, but you know, some people go do other things. Maybe he'll be back another day. Who knows? Lanky Tor Brown Almighty. Well, thank you, Lanky Tor. Dun, dun, dun. All right. Look at the old flyby spot, everybody. Yeah. All right. But anyways, especially now with the new strain of the coronavirus going around, make sure that you're wearing your masks and try to stay as far away from people as possible when you go to a grocery store or something. I mean, you know, follow all the rules they got in there because this is crazy right now. And man, if you're one of the people that aren't scared of vaccines, take it a second. Anybody offers it to you, go get the damn thing. Even if they're peddling it on the streets. I'm just kidding. That's right. And wash your hands, wear the mask, and maintain your social distancing. Like I've said 1,000 times. I've said that on every show since February, basically. Okay? Maybe March. Because that stuff actually does work, believe it or not. Despite the political beliefs that people have, it works. All right, so that's it, and let's go ahead and do the flyby here. God, I can't remember the name. Oh, there it is. Furious Freaks. Remember that? Here, let me do the middle. There we go. Bigger screen. Ooh, 5,000. Yay. 5,000 in 1980 might have made a difference. Not now.
All right, yay! Sarah Beth Colegrass. bush and beach lifestyle. Gosh, Gray, you're always so mean.
Thank you to Zozo, Cairo, Jessica Schubach, Katie 2, and then Stacy with a double cat eye donation. Robin Frost, Sarah M, Shelley Wagner, Gene Fish, Claudio Caspian Horses Rock, Lisa Biller, Ocean Beach Lifestyle, Jessica Schubach, Zozo again, and Lanky Toy. Thank you. that's so cool, man.
What do you mean? Oh yeah, that he's perched on a rock like that? Yeah, that is pretty cool, isn't it? Just sort of looking out, sort of hidden up there.
Yeah, well, I wasn't trying to get that mystical about it, okay? Jesus.
What do you mean mystical? You're always so mean to me. Why can't I just say what I want to say without you always saying something back?
I know it's sad, isn't it? But it's just the way it is, alright, buddy?
Okay, God, you're so mean. Good night, John Boy.
Wow, you're gonna cry when you say that? Good night, Mary Lou.
Good night, John Boy, you're so mean.
Man, what a bunch of psychos. All right, everybody. Thank you very much. All right. Hope you guys found those cases interesting tonight. I thought it went pretty well, other than some of the earlier shenanigans, huh? Wasn't that bad. Yeah. It's just so interesting, this whole area here. It's crazy. But all right, everybody, thank you very much, and we will see you guys tomorrow. All right. Yep, I'm still here. Yeah, we'll see you guys tomorrow, and probably 5 new cases. All right. We're just barely scratching the 80s here at this point. So thank you guys very much, and thank you again for all the super chats and support there. If you want to join Patreon, I'd appreciate that. It's helps at the end of the month there. Let's see. Yeah, that was it. All right. Well, thank you guys very much, and as I always say, everybody, until next time, be safe out there. Yeah, I've been doing this true crime thing for quite a while now. And during this whole time, I have not seen one person that is a crime dissector, a rejector. I'm a certified human lie detector. Gonna get you on a stretcher if you try and play me like an old projector. Crime sector is my nectar. Professor Gray is gonna give another lecture. Crime collector, freak connector, and I'm always gonna be a pup protector. Fool deflector, interceptor, and I'm meaner than a spectre with a vector on his pector. With all respect, ya. Just remember I've a temper fucking check ya. I have no agenda, I'm a pretender, and I'll send it to you straight without a blender. And in the end, I'm gonna send ya on a mission to reveal the true offender. Yeah, so I'll just get right back to work. All right, everybody? Talk to you later.
Way back in history when I'd rock MCA and made my day. But in a little horsey they was slaughtered in, and me and my horsey had a quote on beer. Running across the land, picking up sins, there are potties on my field cause I'm in the land. One lonely BCID, one of them was little that's no party. The sun was beating down on my baseball hat, the air was getting hot, the beat was getting flat. Looking for a girl, I ran into a guy, his name was MCA, I said howdy, he said hi. Rehearsed. 40s on their bodies, then he's dying of thirst. The brew was in my hand, and he was on my tip. His soul was trying to help me worship. He sang and I got some, I said he didn't get none. Yet it doesn't run, he pulled a gun. Quick on the draw, I told him he did. He put the gun to me, and this is what he said. Now my name is MCA, and the boss is a kill. Hope you know what time it is, it's time to get killed. Now what do we have here? And how long is beer? I run his plan, you understand, I'll make myself clear. choices of what you can do. It's not a decision as you can see. I can blow you away, or you can ride with me instead of ride with you if you can get me through the border.
You ever thought that before? What I do to you, thought?
I didn't like this, I didn't like that. I did it with the whistle ball bat. So I'm on the run, they got my gun. Right about now, it's a have some fun. King and rock, here's my name, and I know the first power they got the champagne.
So we go for 6 hours till we hit the spot.
Get this bubble and the girls inside. Dude was staring like he knows who we are. Took him to spot next to him at the bar. Don't you know this kid? I said I did, but I know he did. Kids say get ready, this is so funny. My name's Mike D and I love to get money. Pulled out the jammy, aimed it up the sky. Head went broke, net too high. Head went numb, people hit the floor. Wasted 2 kids that ran for the door.
I'm Mike D and I get respect. You're cashing your jewelry is what I expected.
See, yeah, he was ready, and he's my ace, so I grabbed a piano player and I punched him in the face. Piano player's out, music stopped. Boy got ate, and he got dropped. Mikey grabbed the money, grabbed the game, grabbed the old. Had 2 bullets and a beer that's cold. Grab 2 bullets and a beer that's cold.
Grab 2 billies. Grab 2 billies and a... Wait, let's do that again. How about you, Matt?
Yes, I grabbed 2 bullets and a beer that's cold.
Okay, let's see. I grabbed 2 billies and a beer that's cold.
Hey, John Boy, you suck.
You're so mean.
That's what you say to me all the time.
No, you always say that to Gray.
Oh, that's right. Gray, you're so mean.
Hey, what the hell did I do? I was just listening to you idiots.
Hey, Gray, call us idiots.
He sure did, Mary Lou. He sure did.
Troll on my food, but I don't need it. I chew it up and spit it out and repeat it. It's not a treat, the troll is beat. Just one of the ways that I defeat it. Stayed in my groove, when there's a troll on the move. Just takes a second to remove, cause every time I conclude, the troll is gonna lose. Nice try, lizard eye, I see you creeping on the slide. Why you think you so fly, when you're just a whiny cry. Battle me, you're gonna fry. Gonna send you out to mummify. Time to say goodbye. Hickory dickory dock. Oh wait, can't do that. Rewind mice, see how they run. Something. Red holding me tightly, flows like a harpoon, billion nightly. Will it ever stop, yo? I don't know. Turn off the light, then I'll glow. To the extreme, I want the mic like a rainbow. Light up the stage, I want the jump like a cane throw. Dance, all the speakers at boom, killing your brain like a poisonous mushroom. Deadly, when I play a dope melody, anything less than the best is a felony. Love it or leave it, you better gain weight. You better hit rules like a kid don't play. See, there was a problem, yo, I'll solve it. Check out the hook of my DJ Revolver.
Well, let me try it. Okay. Now that the party...
You suck. Now that the party is jumping, with the bass kicked in and the bangers all pumping. Quick to the point, cause the point no faking. Cooking MCs like a pound of bacon. Burning on, you're quick and nimble. I go crazy when I hear the cymbal with a hi-hat. with a souped up tempo. I'm on a roll, it's time to go solo, rolling. In my 5.0 with a laptop sound so my hair can blow. Look at Liz on standby, waiting just to say hi. Did she stop? No, I just drove by, kept by. Pursuing to the next spot. I bought the left arm, headed to the next spot. Just like I said, y'all, suck it into A1A.
Detroit Avenue.
Hey, not too bad. Hey, at least you got that part in, you idiot.
Did you call me an idiot? I was trying so hard.
We'll try harder next time, John Boy. You're in my world now.
I guess so.
Back and Jill went up the hill, each with $1.25. Jill came down with $2.50. Oh boy.
Well, doesn't that make her a sex worker?
Oh boy. Zozo, nobody knows what the hell you're talking about. But she's just like me, that's for damn sure. You know, the annoying, Thank you, Christina.
Hey, she was talking to me. Hey, no problem, no problem.
Okay, hey, see you later, everybody. Have a good evening. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Yeah, are you going to be nice to me tomorrow, Mary Lou?
Hell no, hell no. Hell no, I won't go. We've got a show, and you can just blow, 'cause you don't know.
Wait, what don't I know? And how about you I blow? That sucks, that's so mean.
Yeah, but you're mean to me every day. Good night, everybody!
Good night, Mary Lou. You seem so happy to be mean.
Yes, everybody. Be safe out there.